Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson, and this is your wake-up call.
When a brown girl child is born, the earth shifts. The sun is at half-mast. The moon waits for her first cry. The ancestors set the table. The flowers turn red as blood. This is your land, continent daughter, with tree trunk legs and branches for arms. This is your soil, black and fertile as your eyes facing an apartheid, Jim Crow, current, past memory. Some of us begin the removal of shackles at birth. We grow into the armor of struggle quickly. We brew courage in our tea, blend bravery into our Sunday dinners. Joanne Watson, you understand nation building is not a part-time job. This dedicated life is sometimes lonely, a vulnerable choice, but it is the only way you know how to operate. You are wired for the movement in your black women bones, even when tired, still fighting, still organizing, still singing morning spirituals. You were born to lead, even in your own family, the eldest of 10 children born to Jefferson and Lestine. You made Damon, Nefertari, Stephen, Maya. Her children always knew she was larger than life. When you are a woman in the movement, you take the children with you on the journey. You bring the babies with you to your college classes. When you travel to Ghana for the first time, it will be with your daughters in tow. When you are a fearless, nationalist thinking mama, mothering never stops with your own babies. 30 godchildren and mentees across the globe. The daughter of a ministering mother is already ordained for good trouble. A seer, a prophetic young student preparing for her lifelong role as servant to her own community. When your purse was snatched in a Farmer Jack parking lot many years ago with your kids' tickets to Run DMC in the purse, you made sure they still got to that concert and even hosted Melly Mel and the Furious Five in your living room, because queens make it look easy. When you were a single mom, people would tell you what you can't do. Instead, you moved to New York City with all 4 of your C's to do your necessary work with the YWCA, because queens make it look easy. Ghana, Togo, South Africa, where is your heart, Mama Watson? Nurturing spirit, baking melt in your mouth, homemade biscuits. How many hours do you sleep, Warrior Watson, with endless work ethic and blue-collar blood racing through your veins? How do we say thank you for your work, your time, your heart? We know you will never really retire. There is a fire on the path to freedom. There is smoke, there is sacrifice, there are stories of justice, of women, of Tubman, Sojourner, of Angela, Asada, Coretta, and Merle, and Betty, and Queen Mother Moore. Some of us know we are ancient, that our marrow is laced with legacy, that we are here to bring light to our daughters. Sometimes it just takes one woman, a mother, a grandmother, a Spitfire, griot, a sister, the only woman to lead the NAACP's largest chapter. She, daughter of the movement, of Rosa, of Irma. She was a birth that gave birth to possibility for other young activists like me, a true D woman, frontline Fatima, Nigerian blood, councilwoman, leader, truth teller, Joanne Watson, social worker, president of the Anti-Klan Network, sister, inspiration, dedicated to the protection of girls and the voices of women wrapped in West African beauty, regal and resilient. Wake up, Detroit. Wake up, South Africa. Wake up, Cuba. Wake up, small business owners. Wake up, White House. Wake up, reparations. Wake up, teachers. Wake up, women. Wake up, schools. Sleeping is not an option when the Honorable Joanne Watson is in the room.
Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson. This is the day the Lord has made. We rejoice and we're glad in it. On this day, this terrific Thursday, a day we've never seen before and shall never see again, we're so honored and privileged to be able to bring to you one of the most signature attorneys in the universe. He's a revolutionary. He is courageous. He's a fighter. He's African-centered. He loves his people. He loves all people. He's going to be featured in a magnificent event tonight at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, 7 p.m. Y'all come. Let me bring forth the great, legendary attorney Lennox Hines. Good morning, Attorney Lennox Hines.
Good morning, Joanne. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful and better now that Lennox Hines is in town, y'all. Lennox Hines, my. If he holds a position that really has no match in the field of legal justice work, social justice fighting all over the world. And he is absolutely at the top of the chain in terms of attorneys that we admire and attorneys we hold dear. Attorney Lennox Hines, and he's here as representing the people's law tonight. And we're so grateful to Charles Ezra Farrell for bringing him to Detroit to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. Talk to us about your extraordinary legacy and life, Attorney Lennox Hines. And I want everybody to beat me to the Charles H. Wright Museum tonight to be in that audience.
Thank you for inviting me to be on the program.
Thank you for being a special guest on Black television.
Okay. Is this a radio program or
It's
TV?
it's TV and radio,
Oh, okay.
and it's
All right.
also online, and it's also in the Virgin Islands.
Oh, great.
It's black-owned media, and it's
Okay.
unapologetically African media.
Okay. All right. I wrote a book which is an adaptation of the petition that we filed at the United Nations in 1978. It was only the second time that a formal petition was filed at the United Nations accusing
Yes,
the United States of human rights violations. The
That's
first
right.
petition was brought by Paul Robeson and William Patterson
Mama, we
in
charge genocide.
1957. And there was a book after that written by William Patterson called We Charge Genocide.
That's right.
Our petition that was brought in 1978 raised the question of human rights violations, and in particular, a critique of the criminal justice system that resulted in political prisoners in the United States.
Yes.
We decided to do an update, a second edition of that book, which I will be signing copies, autographing copies after my comments tonight. That has two new chapters, one dealing with racism in the application of the death penalty in the United States, and also the issue of police crimes. But let me share with you some comments that I want to make today
Yes.
concerning the criminal justice system
My Lord.
in the United States. And I want to share my comments from the perspective of a practitioner
Come on now.
within that system.
Yes.
If we examine the effects and results of the criminal justice system within the United States, it becomes clear to anyone who is looking at this, the operation of the system in a open and unbiased way, that the system operates to the detriment of blacks, Puerto Ricans, Native Americans, Mexican Americans, and other minorities who become victims of what I call the deliberate governmental policies and practices that deny them their basic human rights, abridge their fundamental freedoms solely on the basis of race, color, descent, or national ethnic origin. Now, these racist practices and policies are sharply manifested by what we see being played out almost daily on our TV screens throughout the United States. And that is what I call police crime. The police and their operations are the most egregious human rights violations being committed against people of color in the United States. The irony of this is that the phenomenon is not new. It is persistent, it is endemic, and it is chronic. The Kerner Commission identified it as one of the major causative factors for urban rebellions in the 1960s. In 1980, I presented a report on police crimes in the United States to the United Nations. And that was the United Nations Conference on Crime Prevention in Caracas, Venezuela. The issues identified in that report could have been written today, 39 years later.
Wow.
American society functions normally through an elaborate framework of laws. Poverty, racism, injustice, and oppression, people at home and abroad, are not acts that fall outside of the law. The law is inextricably entwined in its operation. In fact, all of these conditions result from the system of law. Now, every 4th of July, you hear politicians proclaiming loudly and proudly that we're a country that operates under the rule of law. But I contend that the law in the United States have never been a friend of black people.
My.
It was a law which transformed black people into capital goods through the system of chattel slavery.
Yes.
It was a law that denied them their humanity.
That's right.
And it was a law that divested Native Americans from their land, their culture, and their future. And so every 4th of July, you hear school children recite the preamble to the United States Constitution without knowing or understanding the context. When the founding fathers of the country, all of them incidentally slaveholders, George Washington, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and all of the others who announced to the world, and then they said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal,
My Lord.
that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
These words were loudly and widely proclaimed to the world while these hypocrites were looking straight in the faces of 700,000 African slaves,
My Lord.
20% of the nation that they claim to be free.
My Lord.
The very constitution of this new foundation of equally created men rejected the humanity of Africans by counting them only as 3/5 of a person for determining the numbers of elected representatives
That's right.
for which the state was eligible in the First National Congress. Now, why do I talk about this short review of history on racism in the law, and why is that relevant? I contend that while the 13th Amendment ostensibly abolished slavery, we as African Americans are still facing the badges and indicia of slavery, which is reflected in the chronic and persistent racism in the criminal justice system.
Come on now.
Hundreds of blacks and other minorities are killed by the police every year. And the killers know that they can continue to kill, they could continue to maim and cripple minorities with any expectation of judicial reprimand or punishment, because they operate behind what? The shield of racism.
My Lord.
The fundamental remedy to address police crimes in the United States, I contend, is accountability.
Yes.
The police must be accountable to the communities they serve.
Yes.
But herein lies the contradiction. What is the role of the police in our system? We are told to protect and serve. But whose community interests are they protecting and serving?
That's right.
The economic system in the United States, which is monopoly capitalism, relegates minorities to the bottom of the barrel
My Lord.
and relies on the police to keep them in their place.
Yes.
Hence the term law and order being trumpeted by some politicians, including the xenophobic, racist, pathological liar
Mama.
who sits in the White House.
Woo!
They are claiming law and order,
Yeah.
but that is only to keep those who are in the bottom of the barrel in place. Increasing unemployment brings with it increasing community struggles, confronting the inequities of the economic order.
Yes.
Consequently, increased community struggles are met with increased repression by the police. Today, the police and law enforcement primary function is to protect the economic interests of corporate America and maintain the existing economic order. Therefore, the police are ultimately accountable to the corporate interests in the United States. Only when these corporate economic interests are jeopardized by the lawlessness of the police would corporate America take the necessary steps to make the police accountable to the communities in which they serve. Therefore, I contend that the communities which are affected by the lawlessness of the police must force corporate America to choose between maintaining the existing structure of police lawlessness
Yes.
and face economic losses or make the police accountable to the communities in which they work. I believe that to achieve community accountability, our communities should develop a multifaceted strategy which includes utilizing both the criminal
Yes.
and civil law, including suing individual police officers, police departments,
Yeah.
and municipalities for money damages. The National Conference of Black Lawyers has embarked on a program to train a cadre of lawyers around the United States
Yes.
with the specific skills in suing police officers, police departments, municipalities for money damages arising from charges of police crimes. That project is called the Law Enforcement Accountability Project, LEAP, and that is being organized by the National Conference of Black Lawyers,
My.
and it should be funded and supported by our communities.
That's right.
But communities must be cognizant on the limitations of the law and understand power ultimately lies in the people
Say
and
that.
not in the courts. Therefore, I encourage people to utilize their First Amendment rights and
Yes.
take to the streets.
Yes.
Take to the streets to address their grievances. And we, as people's lawyers, will defend them
That's right.
as they take to the streets. Additionally, communities have to utilize selective boycotts,
That's right.
targeting certain corporate interests within their communities, thereby forcing corporate America to choose between supporting the lawlessness of the police or risking their economic interests. Those are some of my thoughts, and I really thank you, Joanne, for having this program, which in fact provides some new perspectives, different perspectives for our communities as we struggle in this difficult times that we are facing. And I must say that we have to be constantly vigilant.
Yes.
We cannot be just walking around feeling that tomorrow, our tomorrow is given. Given that the rhetoric and the outright racist policies that are being promulgated out of the White House,
Yes.
we need to be aware that what is being projected in terms of making America great again
Lord have mercy.
is a signal that is very ominous.
Yes.
Only the 13th, 14th, or 15th Amendment stand between us and change. A constitutional convention can be called tomorrow,
Go ahead.
and white America can repeal the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment.
My.
And where does that lead us? Back in chains. So we have to be vigilant and always ready to fight.
That's right.
And we as people's lawyers
The
are there
the
to support
people's lawyer.
the
Lenny-
people in their fight.
The people's lawyer, Attorney Lennox Hines, our hero, revolutionary warrior in the courtroom and the streets, an activist who not only talks about it, he litigates about it. He leads about it. One of the great leaders of the National Conference of Black Lawyers. He has defended some of the most significant heroes of our time and still on the front line crusading for justice. We just are so honored and privileged to have Attorney Lennox Hines in Detroit. And we want all of our brothers and sisters, if you consider yourself progressive, if you consider yourself conscious, a Pan-African nationalist, if you are an activist, show up at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History tonight. We want every seat to be filled and to honor and listen to our brother, Attorney Lennox Hines, who's going to be our people's lawyer, who's going to give us straight oil from the can as he just did. We need to organize. We need to be ready to engage and know we will be defended by the likes of Attorney Lennox Hines. Let us not sleep through this. Let us wake up, Detroit, and get to the People's Lawyer series on this evening, tonight, 7 p.m., Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. We want to thank you so much. We love you, we honor you, we celebrate you, and we thank God for you, Attorney Lennox Hines. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Joy. Right.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Wake up, Detroit. Attorney Lennox Hines in the house. My. We give God all the praise. Only God is worthy to be praised. We certainly want to give you an opportunity to have your child come to Vacation Bible School. 2 more days left this week. Today from 9 until noon, and tomorrow from 9 until noon. And tomorrow, the young people from ages 5 until 12 will also get school supplies and book bags. We want you to bring your children, and they will, of course, they have free breakfast and lunch, but more than that, they have the word. They get opportunities to commune with wonderful teachers, many of them licensed, registered, certified teachers who are skilled not only in education, but in spiritual background, who will help our young people become finely tuned in the Lord's Prayer and the 10 Commandments and the 23rd Psalm. We want to invite you to bring your children, 4727 Joy Road at Broad Street. Today, from 9 to noon, and tomorrow from 9 to noon. We've had a good time all week with our young people. We give God all the praise. Only God is worthy to be praised. Thank God for R.J. Watkins, who has the vision, and God has provided the provision. We're so grateful that we have the blessing of Sean Watkins and Sister Renee and all of the great officials who helped this black-owned broadcasting station engage with our community. We thank God for R.J. Watkins, and if you want to send him a special communication and a love offering, you do that to 160 Victor, 48203. We thank God for H.T., Henry Tyler, and everybody here at the family of WHPR, WHPS. Have a great day today. Wake up, Detroit!